It's amazing they got paid so much money for that.
25 million and 40 million?
I think 20 and 40. Yeah,
20 and
I think
40.
that's what I'd heard. Which I'm happy Mike got the money, and I'm happy that he didn't get hurt. That was my fear, that it was going to be a real fight and he was going to get hurt.
You've known him for a long time. I've known him for a long time.
Joe Rogan just leaked the most disgusting news of the boxing world, stating that Mike Tyson fled the country after being sued. I know it's hard to believe, but it's the same Mike who once terrified everyone in the ring, and now he couldn't handle the pressure after that circus of a fight with Jake Paul. But sadly, instead of facing the music of a lawsuit, he took the coward's way out and ran.
Last Friday's big ringside fight could be heading to court. A Florida man has filed a $50 million lawsuit against Netflix, claiming breach of contract.
Why? Because fans filed a lawsuit against Netflix for presenting the shit show. This isn't some random legal issue. This is a class action lawsuit tied to that absolute disaster of a fight that felt more like a circus than a real boxing match.
Whatever they're paying him, he's been making good money. He's come back, like I said, in his life. He's done a good job. Him and the people around him. I guess his wife is part of that, obviously, where they've done a good job.
Mike Tyson, the once untouchable, fearsome heavyweight champion, has allegedly skipped town. Mike Tyson is apparently fleeing the country, leaving everyone wondering what's the reason behind this. Well, it's not just a random trip to some tropical island for a little rest and relaxation. Nope, Tyson's taking flight because he's facing a massive lawsuit that could absolutely wreck his already shaky reputation. The lawsuit is directly tied to the catastrophic disaster of Netflix's live stream during Tyson's fight with Jake Paul, a class action lawsuit for $50 million.
And it was a bit of a shit show, but what did you expect? Seriously, when you stayed home and you turned on Netflix that night, we were like, holy I'm about to see the greatest live sporting event of all time.
Don't even get me started on the fight itself, which was already a joke before the first bell rang. I mean, who thought it was a great idea to put a 58-year-old Tyson in the ring with a 27-year-old YouTuber turned boxer like Jake Paul? Are we watching boxing, or are we getting punked on reality TV? It felt more like a circus, a sad spectacle that even the most die-hard fans had trouble taking seriously. But then, things got really shady.
Well, X has spoken. The fight was scripted. Everyone is talking about this on X, and the script was actually leaked on X a few days ago.
Well, the drama did not end here. Right before the fight, a script leaked on Twitter. Yep, rumors started swirling that there was a script detailing how the fight would go down.
The script has went viral. Let's see how accurate it was. The opening bell rings, Tyson is showing flashes of his old form, which actually happened.
Some people brushed it off as total nonsense, but here's the thing. When you've got a 58-year-old Tyson looking sluggish and Jake Paul's reactions to punches that should have knocked him out being, well, overly dramatic, it's hard not to wonder if something fishy is going on.
Tyson requested the 2-minute rounds, wanting to see more action. He just landed the overhand right, testing the beard of Paul early.
I mean, seriously, Tyson landed some solid punches, but what about the way Paul responded? It was like watching a soap opera. The man was practically throwing himself around the ring, acting like every punch was a knockout blow. And fans? They weren't buying it. The internet was abuzz, questioning the authenticity of the entire fight. Was this really a contest or a well-rehearsed performance?
Last Friday's big ringside fight could be heading to court. A Florida man has filed a $50 million lawsuit against Netflix, claiming breach of contract after subscribers dealt with buffering issues during the Jake Paul and Mike Tyson fight.
The backlash was immediate. Fans felt betrayed, questioning whether the fight was less about athletic competition and more about entertainment and profit. For a legend like Tyson, this controversy stung even more.
I mean, all the people that are, there's a lot of, in Portnoy went out and said that it was the greatest con job of all time. I mean, if you didn't think that that's the way the fight, I don't know what people expected. Mike's almost 60 years old.
With all the drama unfolding, Joe Rogan and other boxing experts didn't exactly hold back on their opinions.
Which I'm happy Mike got the money, and I'm happy that he didn't get hurt. That was my fear, that it was going to be a real fight and he was going to get hurt.
You've known him for a long time. I've known him for a long time.
Dana White called the entire Tyson-Paul debacle a total shit show. And honestly, who can blame him? From the sketchy fight conditions and Tyson's questionable performance to the leaked script rumors and Netflix's catastrophic streaming failure.
I do not necessarily think it's a good idea for 57-year-old men to be fighting 27-year-old men.
Boxing experts who normally try to stay diplomatic were lining up to criticize everything from the fight's authenticity to the shady behind-the-scenes dealings. Some were questioning Tyson's ability to even get into the ring, let alone survive an 8-round match.
Beat Larry Holmes. I think that Mike Tyson is the best heavyweight of all time. I don't think anybody with him. It just, he didn't maintain that form, and he wound up losing to Buster Douglas. And, you know, I look at fighters when they're in their absolute prime.
Behind the scenes, Tyson's health was a ticking time bomb. Just months before the fight, he revealed that he had nearly died from a severe ulcer. He underwent 8 blood transfusions, lost 25 pounds, and struggled with mobility.
Yeah. It's amazing they got paid so much money for that.
25 million and 40 million?
I think 20 and 40. Yeah,
20 and
I think
40.
that's what I'd heard.
Despite these alarming health issues, Tyson still agreed to fight. Why? The $20 million payout might have played a big role. But fans couldn't help but question whether Tyson should have been in the ring at all. His sluggish movements during the fight only added to the speculation. Adding fuel to the fire, Tyson admitted to using marijuana before the fight. While Tyson is known for being open about his cannabis use, this revelation raised eyebrows, given the strict anti-doping rules in Texas. Did he risk disqualification just to stick to his routine? And if so, what does that say about his mental and physical readiness for the fight?
Netflix is being issued a class action in relation to the Mike Tyson and Jake Paul fight. TMZ reports the lawsuit is over streaming issues and a breach of contract.
Over 60 million people tuned in to watch the event. 60 million. That's the entire population of France, for crying out loud. And what did Netflix deliver? A buffering nightmare.
Well, I think they checked that box. You got hundreds of million people watching the fight. We were all watching the fight. We paid for this service. Check that box as well. But I think it fails again because they all are similarly situated. They could even become a class.
Down Detector, a site that tracks online outages, recorded over 85,000 complaints about Netflix's live stream failing during the event. Fans reported glitches, freezes, and worst of all, missing major moments of the fight. Imagine paying for a ticket to a show only to have the TV cut out right when the action heats up. That's exactly what happened. People couldn't even see the punches, let alone the supposed big upset by Jake Paul, who, in case you missed it, actually won by unanimous decision. But this isn't just about some bad tech hiccup. This was Netflix's biggest live sports event ever. 60 million people were expected to watch. Netflix should have known that, right? Instead, they were caught with their pants down, scrambling to handle the demand.
Last Friday's big ringside fight could be heading to court. A Florida man has filed a $50 million lawsuit against Netflix, claiming breach of contract after subscribers dealt with buffering issues during the Jake Paul and Mike Tyson fight.
And don't think the fans were just sitting quietly in their homes, happily accepting the chaos. Nope, they were furious. Refund requests flooded in, with social media platforms lighting up with complaints and expletives. People were demanding Netflix take accountability for ruining what was supposed to be a monumental moment in boxing. And really, who can blame them? They were sold a live-streamed fight, not a 4-hour buffering circle of doom. Rogan's been tearing down the walls of boxing's shiny facade for a while now. Let's not forget that he's been calling out the unpredictability of modern boxing, and it's becoming clearer every day that his predictions are the stuff of prophecy.
What's the latest with the Mike Tyson, Logan? Was it Logan Paul or
Jake?
Jake Paul.
Jake's the really good
Tell me
boxer.
about that, because I saw that reported and I got super interested in it, but I haven't looked into it since.
I'm fascinating because it's going to happen and there's nothing I can do to stop it from happening.
Do you want to stop it from
I
happening?
do not necessarily think it's a good idea for 57-year-old men to be fighting 27-year-old men.
Rogan already expressed serious concerns over Tyson's involvement in the fight against Jake Paul, especially when it came to Tyson's health. You know, the part where he was literally at death's door just months before the match due to a near-fatal ulcer. But hey, a $20 million paycheck will do wonders for your motivation, right?
You'd be like, this kid's the future. He's really something special. And the fact that he's willing to fight Tyson, even if Tyson's 57, just the fact that he's willing to actually take a chance at Mike Tyson not being able to do what he used to do.
Rogan doesn't mince words when he talks about the exploitation of boxers in high-profile events. He's voiced concerns about the dangers of fighters being thrown into the ring for the sake of entertainment value and how the risks often outweigh the rewards, especially when there's big money at stake.
I mean, if you didn't think that that's the way the fight, I don't know what people expected. You know, Mike's almost 60 years old. He's Mike Tyson, but he's 60 years old. And he knew that Jake Paul couldn't do anything to him.
The fact that Tyson was still stepping into the ring despite his multiple health issues says a lot about how these fighters are sometimes pushed past their limits for the sake of a paycheck. And if there's one person who won't hesitate to call out this kind of exploitation, it's Joe Rogan.
That was my fear, that it was going to be a real fight and he was going to get hurt.
You've known him for a long time. I've known him for a long time.
I love that dude.
Me too.
But here's where things get interesting. Rogan recently leaked the biggest news on his podcast, claiming that Mike Tyson had fled the country after being hit with a lawsuit following the Netflix streaming disaster. Now that's a claim that would make anyone stop and think. Did Tyson really flee to avoid the legal heat, or is Rogan just stirring the pot? His speculations have sent boxing fans into overdrive. Is Rogan in the know about something we don't? The boxing world is buzzing, and Tyson's alleged disappearance gives fans much to chew on. Is it a sign of something sinister, or just a dude trying to escape the noise? Either way, it's one heck of a plot twist in a story that was already way too full of drama. First up, Mike Tyson. What happens to his legal and professional future if the rumors of his alleged escape are true? The man was once the king of the ring, but now he's in a legal quagmire. Will he be able to bounce back from this string of controversies, or is this the beginning of the end? It's hard to imagine Tyson riding off into the sunset with all his health issues and now potential lawsuits.
I mean, what he's doing is, kind of cool if he can continue to steal money and they match him the way they match him. I can't knock his hustle. So if they can match him the way how they've been matching him, more power to him.
Then there's Jake Paul. The man has somehow managed to emerge on top of all this chaos, winning his fight with Tyson and pocketing a cool $40 million. Will he continue his controversial rise in the boxing world?
Mike Tyson's just been beat off Jake Paul. But how? Mike Tyson's an absolute legend and one of the greatest fighters of all time. How can this YouTuber beat such a great fighter? Well, X has spoken.
And what about boxing? Will this event, which blurs the lines between legitimate competition and entertainment spectacle, hurt the sport in the long term? Fans are already questioning the integrity of high-profile fights, and with all the scandals swirling around Tyson and Jake Paul, the future of the sport is looking interesting. The big question remains, is Tyson's alleged escape the most shocking twist yet? We want to hear your thoughts. Drop a comment below and let us know what you think. Is this the beginning of the end for Tyson, or just another chapter in his unpredictable journey?